guys.
How are you?
Hi, Brandon. Nice to meet you. Hi, Tyler.
He shakes everyone's hand.
No.
And Maddie.
What's up, guys?
Rachel, nice to meet you. Yes. Short little arms.
What's up, man?
Wave to you. Yeah, just
What's up, Brandon?
And tiny
Brandon.
little hands.
Nice to meet you, Al.
It's like a T-Rex.
Yeah, it's like a little.
Oh,
it's a
It's on camera.
Is that on camera?
Yeah.
Twin hands. Finally, someone with midget hands like mine.
I can't like do.
Get this footage of Maddie being
It's
nice.
like,
It's very
you know,
rare.
she's not nice.
She's not a nice person, no.
What? She looks so sweet.
Looks are deceiving.
She's violent.
Don't ever, it's like, though I be but little, I be really evil.
Bites.
Closer to the ground, closer to Satan.
What?
The joke about short people is closer to the ground, closer to hell, closer to Satan.
Yeah.
And I find that to be true.
I find it to be very true.
I'm like,
So short people are devilish?
I think it's like, genetics make you look
Kids.
nice.
Don't underestimate us.
yeah.
But,
The spawn of Satan.
Spawn of Satan.
Okay.
It's good. That's why we're on the show.
Yeah, I've noticed. I've
The
really
devil
seen that
has
come
a
through.
little bit of a hand in each of our lives.
I have a lot of
And so-
short homies. I'm gonna tell them that. You guys are the spawn of Satan.
Okay, now let's get on to the interview portion.
And anyway,
So did you guys like the original movie, and how did you prepare for your roles?
No, we both hated the original movie. It's really bad.
I thought it was cool. It was actually really cool.
I watched it when I was really young because my dad, I watched The Mummy when I was 3, and then I watched From Dusk Till Dawn when I was 7. 9. Sorry, 9. That's way more appropriate.
Is it though?
Yes, it is. It's
But
good parenting.
in all of its grindhouse gloriousness, it's definitely like a cult classic.
It is such a cult classic, and
can't
it's
go
so
without
quintessential Robert Rodriguez. It's so him. It's gore, and then it's that unexpected twist with vampires.
It's
Boom,
brutal,
vampires.
brutal.
And I think it's such an honor to be able to, take on the role of Kate, and then.
And for me to take on the role of Scott, and I'm super double honored that they didn't kill me yet. So got my fingers crossed. But
Yeah, he outlived his character.
my predecessor. Predator.
We've done a lot.
That's a lot of interviews.
We were weird to begin with, and now it's just kind of slowly.
So, next question.
Any fun stuff behind the scenes you guys want to share? You guys seem like you guys are cool, always having fun.
A lot of
you guys are,
fun
the
stuff.
fun ones there.
Anything
Why does everyone else seem really?
Were they just drab?
Well, you guys seem like more like the cheery ones.
Well, we
more
are the
youth.
youngest people.
Yeah.
We're the youngest. You're 19.
I'm 19.
And
so-
I'm 18.
Yeah, I'm a baby.
Oh my gosh.
oh dear.
Everyone else is kind of fogies.
Yeah.
Suddenly feel really old.
As you should.
You guys are
No, we are the youngest people on the show, and
a lot of fun stuff on set.
we have so much fun on set.
Tell me something that, a crazy anecdote you want to share.
Like, I'm always on my Snapchat because there's always really weird things on set, everywhere, and I'm always sending it to my homies, and I had a selfie on a pile of dead bodies with just blood everywhere, and I was just Sunday's got me it's always so strange walking around set. But yeah.
Mine, it would probably be first season when I got to chainsaw somebody in half.
Oh my god.
Kulabra, not a person.
Doesn't matter.
Kulabras are people, but used to.
You like to think so.
So I remember Robert coming up to me and being like, "You have the sweetest face. I can't wait to cover it in blood." And I just remember
Sick.
typing that to my mom and being like, "He said this."
You should tweet that. You have the sweetest face. It should be covered in blood.
It's like a good pickup line. I kind of want to use that. It's like, "You have the sweetest face. I can't wait to cover it with
Let's hit the
blood."
clubs tonight,
Let's use that on people downstairs, okay?
baby.
Baby, you got a cute face.
What do you know?
No, and then we always have such a good time. We were doing a scene where we had to be in water. It was the rain, and it wasn't even that cold outside, but we would come back to our tent, put on some what were we listening to? Marvin Gaye?
I think it was Marvin Gaye, Chardonnay. But no, like we were in heating tents, but we couldn't take the clothing off. So even if like the wet clothes, like it was dripping wet, it got warm, but then it was just like attached to our bodies for like good
So we're
4
just
hours.
sitting in there and we're like, okay, let's get up and like dance.
Yeah.
And so we'd be in our little heating tent, like just like sidestepping.
doing jumping
trying
jacks
to, like-
between shots.
Lost a lot of weight that night.
I was deadlifting a rock just to stay warm. But
He just does that to, you know, keep in shape.
it's bulking season. But yeah,
We have so many good moments on this set because we're such a family, all of us.
it is a unit.
So you guys get along very well. There's
We
no
do.
problems. No one's like, ah.
This is
Oh, no,
all-
actually,
yes.
There's that rivalry, you know, sometimes.
But I feel like everyone's
yeah.
ego is pretty much like in check. Like, if she had all the FaceTime, like, good for her. Like, that's super cool. If someone else had all the FaceTime, then like, as long as the show itself prospers, like, I couldn't give.
We have a
poops.
really good cast in that sense, in that nobody's really worried about who has more lines or who has more this. We're all kind of like, if it makes the show better, then and we're all such different characters. It's not like there are two people on the show that are kind of fighting for like the token white girl or the token.
I actually wanted to be the token white girl, but she took it, and I have no problem with that. Like, it's the way the ball rolls. But no, but like in
He
terms
was
of like,
born to play Kate Fuller, but I came in there and I was like,
she took
no,
my
Rob,
role.
no.
Hollywood. But no, all of us have been put into like really bad positions. Like Freddie, he got like peed on in season 1. Like Asa got like totally humiliated in front of a crowd of like nuns. I was in chains for a good portion of season 2. So like we've all been in pretty like dark spots.
Yeah. I thought you
Was that relevant? Like, did it answer your
I
question?
was like, wait, he got peed on. Oh, and then I remembered that
He
episode.
did.
I remember that episode, and then I was
He
like,
actually
wait,
requested
Jesse
that.
got peed on?
That wasn't even in the script. Like, he
Was it like a
requested to have that happen.
That's insane.
I was like reliving that moment. I was like, he got peed?
It wasn't even a part of the script. It just happened behind stage.
He's like, hey, pee on me.
R. Kelly came through.
Oh my god.
This is fun.
Get me out of here.
In the first season, when you finally got to the bar, was it like a surreal experience being on the set of the film that you watched when you were 9 or when you were younger?
As they built it on a soundstage,
Yeah.
and I remember when I first he said, have you seen the bar yet? And I'm like, he goes, it's not finished, but follow me. And so he takes me in there, and it's like this kind of styrofoam where they carve it in, and like
Oh, nice.
it was still all white. And then the next day I come in and it's furnished and it's completely colored, and it was absolutely surreal.
I would go to that strip club.
I would not because of
well
the
done.
I'd go for like a drink.
problem.
You know, I would dip before like they get their drink, if you feel me.
It's like
But-
it's like I'm gonna have a cocktail, but like then I'm gonna skedaddle.
But shooting that scene was super awesome. Like,
It was my first time in a strip club. I was 17 and there were topless ladies, and
it was my first time seeing like a nude woman, and like it totally just lost my innocence right there. My character and the actor are just
This
like,
show is about loss of innocence, and
Wow.
we definitely lost a little bit of it.
that's what women look like.
To piggyback on that, like actually in sort of like a semi-serious manner, because both Kate and Scott do have sort of a loss of innocence thing, and something that's very interesting about Kate is that she sort of loses her trust in her innocence in a markedly like non-sexual manner. Like she doesn't lose her innocence in the same way like say Santanico did.
It's such a
Yeah.
it's such a poignant moment because so often in television shows, you know, you have the token innocent Christian girl losing her innocence in the sexual way, and what you're talking about. And what's so cool about this show is that you have Kate who's so strong in her beliefs, and you really watch her throughout the second season holding on to her faith and holding on to this faith that she has in her brother, and then losing it throughout the season, and watching the world kind of take that from her.
In terms of like loss of innocence, like as opposed to her character, it's something that like from the get-go, my character's kind of been seeking out. He never wanted to be a part of this like this Christian family. He never wanted to go to like, he wanted to leave his public school. He didn't get along with anyone in school, so like this is kind of something that like he asked for. So his loss of innocence is like he didn't want to be innocent anymore, per se. So
I don't know if Scott really ever was innocent. I feel like he always kind of had that hate in his heart.
he was packing a gat like in his gym bag. If you've seen seen that in
Yeah.
season 1. Like, he was a pretty dark kid.
He
Like,
had hatred in his heart because I think he felt the hate from our family. You had that episode where I tell him that I hated him, that I hated that he was different, that I hated that he was this little Asian boy coming into our perfect white Christian family, and I thought that was such a poignant moment in the show.
and my character probably felt that. He never really felt like a part of the family. Like, he said it in the beginning of season 1, like, in the end of season 1, like, he said, like, I never really was a part of this family, was I? Because he never really felt accepted.
It's sort of very interesting to watch them sort of parallel the brothers in a lot of ways as well, because like I can especially see between Seth and Scott in season 1. I think Seth sees a lot of himself in young Scott. Like he says, oh, like if you were in the Old West, you'd wear a black hat, like very fondly. Like whereas Kate's relationship with the brothers develops in a very different way. Scott and the brothers, it's almost like he becomes their like, it's like they're twins and he's the little brother in a lot of ways in some ways. If you want to talk about that at all.
See, I see Scott as being kind of like everything that Seth doesn't want Scott to turn out to be. He's like, this kid shouldn't be like me. He doesn't even, he's in this perfect Christian family. He shouldn't turn out to be like me. So I think he sees a lot of what he doesn't like about himself in Scott.
And initially, like, Scott super resents the brothers. He sees a lot of, like, his bullies from his high school. He sees that in the brothers, and he brings that up, like, constantly.
All these people taking advantage of innocent people. I mean, you don't know our lives. You don't know if we're actually innocent. But, like, for them to kind of prey on an innocent family, I think that's what Scott hates about the people in his school.
And I've dealt with, like, racism, like, as a child. I'm guessing, like, for my character, I'm pretty sure that my character has dealt with racism in school. Her ex-boyfriend calls me a rice monkey. Like,
Wilmer calls you rice.
Yeah, well, Wilmer.
Carlos
acting like her ex-boyfriend called me a rice monkey. Like Richie calls me Bruce Lee, and I get really defensive. Why is that because I'm Chinese? And like I've been dealing with like racism like throughout my childhood. But then like after a while, they kind of see the steel in my character, and they grow to respect that. Like when I say like I'm actually Chinese, not Japanese, so is Bruce Lee. Like Richie kind of backs off. He's like, okay, this kid means business.
I think there's what I love about the show is that we're not afraid to address racism. And my character, Kate, admits to Scott that she hated him. She hated him for being different. She hated him for being a person of color. She hated him. And she didn't want to call him by his name, John June, because he was different. And she didn't want her life to change. And I thought that was such a... I think we're all afraid to be the bad guy, and we're all afraid to admit that, you know, we have faults. And I thought that was such a... I felt really honored to do that scene because even though I don't have those feelings, I thought it was very interesting to show that a little girl innocently hating someone for coming in and ruining her idea of perfection.
And as much as like my character resented her character for always like being that goody sister, like always being in my ear, in my life, like after that scene when she opened up to me, like I bet he couldn't help but like respect her a little bit more for sharing that.
You see it on your face, like in
like,
the scene.
oh man, now I feel bad.
You're like, well, now I have to love you, damn it.
I guess.
Everyone loves me eventually.
Get over it.
I've got a random question for you guys.
I like it.
What was it like working with Mr. Robert Patrick?
Mr. Robert Patrick, he was really cool. He was badass.
T-1000. He is badass, but he's also the nicest guy you'll ever meet. He is such a nice, he's a family man. He's got 2 kids and a beautiful wife, and he's so loving and so nurturing. But when he's on screen and he's on set,
he can be like super intense, but he can also be like a total like freaking softie. Like he will forever and always will be like my favorite white dad.
The scene where I finally have to kill him at the end.
The collection back there.
That was the hardest scene I've ever had to film. I really like every emotion in that scene was real. Just when I didn't know he was gonna die. I thought they were gonna rewrite that, and so like they didn't tell me until like 2 days beforehand.
So you lost him as a father and lost him as like a cast member. It was real.
Why are we still having this?
Start a little bit later.
If you had the opportunity to, if Robert decided, hey, I'm going to bring another one of my properties to television, which film would you want to do and which role would you want to play?
Shark Boy and Lava Girl, I'm Shark Boy.
Yes.
Easy.
And then I'd be Lava Girl, obviously.
Easy. And Once Upon a Time in Mexico,
I want to have
who's the gentleman that shot out of his
I would
guitar?
not have a role in
El
that.
Mariachi?
El Mariachi,
You could be
That
like
was
the Vega
Antonio
character.
Banderas.
I would be
We're not
Antonio.
gonna
I can
whitewash
see
those
that.
characters. No.
Good.
That'd be pretty awesome.
That would be
Cast
super.
myself.
I would just
no,
be
I'd
the
be
guitar.
who's the blonde girl? Who's the blonde girl with the pigtails?
Harley Quinn?
Not Harley. Point 1 for me.
I actually counted 6. Continue.
I have 12 points for Harley Quinn.
There's an interview going on.
You'll never know what's.
So guys, what are some filmmakers or actors or actresses you want to work with in the future?
I hope that they bring in Quentin Tarantino because
Oh, yeah.
I love everything he does. It's just he's crazy in the best way possible.
And Christopher Nolan. Because he's cool. He does cool things.
Yes.
I like him.
Would you want to be a superhero?
Super villain.
Super villain.
I definitely like
He
the
would
dark.
play great.
Like dark is so much more my type. Like
You were
it's
doing really good with the pyrokinesis kind of thing.
A what?
With the pyrotechnics, you were doing great. Scott is a
The
pyrokinetic.
fire and everything and the
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Flame on.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
I was like Zuko, Prince Zuko.
Yeah.
I think I would like to play Prince Zuko.
Do it.
Just gotta get the
Mike and
scar.
Brian,
I have to find the avatar.
perfect. Mike and Brian are here. Like, go downstairs and just talk.
This
to
is
them.
that. There we go. There's the scar.
Daddy issues.
Hey,
and
Scott
teenage-
has daddy issues.
And teenage angst. I'm Zuko.
Yeah, Scott is Zuko.
What do you want?
It's pretty simple.
Parallels.
I could see it was Robin actually.
I would
A
like.
more mature Robin.
By the way, I did an animated movie for Teen Titans, and I'm Beast Boy.
That's awesome.
Perfect.
So like, not Robin, but close enough.
In the same
You'd
universe.
be like a
You got
Jason.
the voice right though. That's perfect for Beast Boy. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was totally not it, but
Beast Boy.
green. I'm green.
Okay, well, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, guys.